Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clown. So, first is the big news that suspended attorney Jenna Ellis has flipped on her Arizona co-defendants. This is in the newest fake electors case in Arizona. The prosecutor mentioned that over the weekend, one of the defendants had agreed to cooperate, but we didn't know for sure it was Ellis. In return for her cooperation, though, Ellis is going to have all of her charges dropped. She's going to be giving up the goods on her other 17 co-defendants, whatever she does know, meaning Rudy Giuliani is in big trouble. And evidently, she had already sat for a proffer session. That happened on June 17th, so it was a while back. But she must have provided some juicy details because Attorney General Chris Mays said, quote, "I am grateful to Ms. Ellis for her cooperation with our investigation and prosecution. Her insights are invaluable and will greatly aid the state in providing its case in court." You know who's not happy about Ellis flipping on Trump's coup buddies? MAGA world. After she posted about it, because she put something on Twitter saying she's grateful for the opportunity. So MAGA had a meltdown. The tears began to flow. One user wrote, quote, "Jenna Ellis has lost all respect of the people." So she's lost all respect of the people for telling the truth finally. Yeah, okay, got it. And then another person posted, quote, "Too bad you cried like you did and sold your soul." Then another MAGA man accused Ellis of selling out. Someone else said she was backstabbing. One Twitter user said, quote, "Jenna Ellis flipped in Arizona. What a little loudmouth." And then Ellis also took some incoming from Democrats. So they brought up, that she brought this on herself and nobody feels sorry for her. And she truly has managed to piss off and alienate everyone. That takes some skill. And I would almost feel sorry for her if she wasn't such a hateful person. Her attitude towards the LGBTQ community because of her so-called faith is despicable. I mean, she clearly passed over the part in the Bible about accepting and loving everyone because she just was horrific after that shooting in Colorado. If you guys ever feel sorry for her, or you feel yourself starting to, just remember what she said after that shooting at Club Q in Colorado. That psycho killed like half a dozen people, injured dozens of others. She went on her podcast and she said that basically she didn't feel bad for them because there's no evidence that they were Christians. Yeah. And then she said, quote, "They are now reaping the consequences of having eternal damnation." She is honestly a monster. So cry more, Jenna. Anyway, this is her second plea deal, her second cooperation deal. As you all know, she cooperated in Georgia. I've also shared she had her law license suspended in Colorado because of her part in this attempted coup. So yeah, consequences. Speaking of which, I have news to share about America's defendant, Mr. Rudy Giuliani. So I mentioned last week, Giuliani had come to an agreement with Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. He agreed he would sell both of his properties. So he has one in New York, the other one in Florida. He's going to sell both of those and settle out some of his debt. So the judge had agreed to dismiss Giuliani's bankruptcy case on Friday of last week. It was kind of up in the air as to whether or not he was going to go for it. Judge said, okay, I'll do this. He also, the judge meaning, placed liens on both of Giuliani's properties. So he did that, of course, to make sure that Giuliani is going to pay his debts because the judge is still pissed off and saying, like, you're just not being transparent about your finances, which is really suspicious. I mean, this guy has agreed to give up both of his homes so that he can avoid handing over documents. There's something going on. So his New York apartment had already been listed. I mentioned that before. He had dropped the price recently because it wasn't selling, so it's now down to $5.7 million. Giuliani had argued that he couldn't possibly sell his Florida condo because where would he record his podcast? I mean, as if that's the only place in the world, in America, that he could possibly broadcast his podcast from. So that property is now going to be sold. It's valued at around 3.5 million. That will go on the market as soon as possible. So it is now open season on Giuliani. Everyone and anyone can resume their lawsuits against him. That means Dominion voting systems. That means his former assistant who has accused him of sexual harassment. I will definitely keep you up to date on all of that. And then last but not least, I have a quick update about another coup attorney. You will remember this guy, former Justice Department employee Jeffrey Clark. He was also facing possible disbarment because he participated in the attempted coup. Well, the DC bar made their decision last week. In their opinion, they wrote, quote, Clark's personal beliefs blinded him from objectively assessing the facts and the reality of his proposed course of action. They also said that Clark, quote, attempted dishonesty and did so with truly extraordinary recklessness. Unfortunately, the DC panel decided against disbarment. Instead, they said that Clark should be suspended for 2 years because they said, unlike Giuliani and the other attorney, John Eastman, who's facing disbarment, they said Clark was working for the Justice Department at the time and he never provided false testimony in court. So that saved him. This is not the final word, though, so the recommendation that they've made will then go to the DC Bar's Board of Professional Responsibility. They will have the final say. And then whatever they decide, Clark can appeal, and, I can guarantee pretty much he's going to do that. You would think he would be happy, that he would say, I dodged a bullet, I almost lost my license, 2 years suspension isn't that bad. Nope. No, his legal team issued a statement. They're all pissed off. They said that the bar's recommendation is, quote, unlawful on many grounds and wrongly dives into confidential deliberations shielded by both presidential immunity and executive privilege. Of course, the real issue, why I think they're probably pissed off is, number one, this can be used against him in a court of law, meaning Georgia. Because remember, he is one of Trump's co-defendants in that Georgia election subversion case as well. So this is not good for him in that regard. The other reason is if Trump wins in November, Clark can't just step back into his role at the Justice Department in a Trump administration. Now, I'm sure Trump will find a spot for him. Maybe. As we all know, loyalty only goes one way with Trump, so we'll see about that. But anyway, wouldn't that be sweet justice? Like if Clark did all this for Trump, almost lost his license, he's looking at 2 years suspension where he's going to have to go get a different job. He's got all of these legal bills mounting. He's, getting hit left and right with all this stuff. And then if Trump totally shines him on, and he's like, no, yeah, not bringing you back. That would be awesome. Yeah, he is not loyal in return. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Love you all. If you can donate, truly appreciate it. Helps to keep the show going. Talk with you soon. Take care.